Yes, so Face Donate. We're here to solve food poverty today through the social of your ESG. So let's concentrate on something we can tackle on and we can wrap our heads around it today. So our core values that drive this project of our social enterprise is that transparency and efficiency together bring trust. So we are based in London. We are supported by UCL and AWS, and we got legal support by Thomson Reuters Foundation. So let me ask you some questions to start with this idea. So do you know how many people cannot afford to eat today in the UK? Well, it's a rhetorical question. There's about 9 million people cannot afford to eat today in the UK, which is crazy. And in Europe, this number goes up to 100 million people. Now, given that we are talking to the US right now, who cares about Europe? Who cares about the UK? So I just found out that there are about 33 million people that cannot afford to eat in the US today. And about 5.1 million in the US are really struggling. And on the other side, we have food waste. So there are about 12 billion of food wasted that is wasted just by the retail sector in the UK today. And in Europe this number is astonishing, is 165 million. Now, retailers are getting better and better. There are this sort of services, but how can we help? So the last bit of information that is really drove this project forward was this. So charities are not very effective. They're not very efficient. So do you know how much they spend on fundraising and reporting? It's something crazy, like 30% of income. So, and these two things are separate. So charities fundraise on one hand with the donation platforms, whatever you know about those, and then they report on the other end. So the delivery and the fundraising are two separate bits. And why are we here today? Because we think we solve a problem. And the problem we solve is that traditionally, donation platform lack transparency and impact reporting. So one person donates to a good cause, but then they don't know what happened with their money. So there is a kind of a preemptive trust given to the charity before we know about their actions. And something along these lines was mentioned by this very controversial actor that everyone knows, Elon Musk, which a few months ago kind of had this conversation with the World Food Programme saying, if you tell me how the donation are spent exactly in this thread, I'll sell stocks to make it happen. And so before this, actually, we started working on Face Donate. So Face Donate is a software, is a platform that shows the use and impact of every donation. So you donate, and the charity or whoever gets the donation in order to use the donation needs to tell us what does with it. And this can be compiled, so it can be aligned to sustainable development goals. And this is quite interesting, both for charities and for corporate donors. So there's no cash in hand, it can only be redeemed in person, you can predefine goods or goals. And if we look at food waste, we reduce, if we look at food insecurity, we reduce food waste. How does it work in the context of food security? A donor chooses a cause or a project and donate. Charity gets the money. They can allocate it through our software to a beneficiary, which then spends the money in the retail sector. The retailer gets extra revenue. We charge a fee to the retailer. Very clean and simple. This is something we're doing with Acme Food Bank, one of the largest partners in the biggest UK food network of food banks. So the charity gets the donation, they allocate it to individuals. The individuals go with our verified digital vouchers, if you want to call them so, and they authenticate in the system by taking a picture of themselves, and then they pay using a QR code. And the receipt is shared with donors, which are then more stimulated to give again, because knowing that we help Philip or we help Philip family makes us want to give again. And knowing that he didn't receive a box he didn't choose, but he bought fruit and vegetables that he wanted, makes us feel good again. And this is, again, one single aspect of the plethora of projects we're looking at, but food security is very understandable. So how do we make money? We are not a charity. We are a business for purpose and profit. So we make money in 3 different ways. When basically we take money out when the donation is spent. Charities are very happy because we bring them extra revenue, mainly from donors they didn't have before. So donors that are looking for impact monitoring, and they're happy to pay us a fee, which is way cheaper than what they usually pay for fundraising and reporting costs. Retailers are very happy to work with us because not only they get extra footfall from the clients we bring them, so imagine a supermarket, but also they have a new way of fidelizing their current clients by asking them a donation, which for once the person that gives will know how it's spent, and that money can be spent in their own shop. So we're working also, we're having conversation not only with food retailers, but also with the computer PC world and these kind of technology suppliers. Why? Because digital inclusion is another big trend in the UK at the minute, and people seem to be willing to donate as long as they get feedback. On top of this, corporates are happy to work with us because we make it simple for them to organize employees giving program, sponsorship, and these kind of things. And they can choose as many charities as they want to support or one of our portfolio. And we provide them real-time dashboards with showing the impact they achieved on the numerous projects, and they pay us a fee. Our traction to date, so we've invested zero on marketing. It's all bootstrapped. These numbers need to be changed because it's actually 55. Sorry, I didn't. I checked on a previous presentation before. It's £55,000 that we collected over with $200 over the last 6 months. We have 100K committed in 100 grand committed in donation from a single donor to tackle the food security program, and we secure fees from both the charities and the retailers at this stage. We have a network of partners, both in the corporate world and in the charity sector, not only looking at food security, but looking at disability, children, work inclusion, women inclusiveness, and so on and so forth. But also universities or large foundation from corporates. So, for example, Primavera, that we recently signed up to use our software for their employees giving program. Another big win of this month was that ACT, which is the housing association, the umbrella under which the housing association in the UK worked. So they manage about 3.2 million of houses in the UK, social houses, are very much willing to use our system to give a bit more to help their residents, both shopping and paying for bills in this moment in which electricity prices are going absolutely crazy. And to be honest, knowing that you pay the bill for a family in crisis makes you want to give again, not only give again next Christmas, which seems to be the standard for a lot of people. Where are we right now? We have done a plethora of pilots and we tested our MVP to find market fit. Right now, we are working with we have about 20 open projects with a number of corporates, both from micro sizes to big sizes, namely Bosch is one of our clients. We're looking to raise funding because we haven't, we just bootstrapped to date. So with the funding, we will improve the user experience of our platform and automate the onboarding and the dashboards, which are now partially manual. And in 18 months, we are looking to initiate FCA for e-money in Europe, and then maybe come to the US, where the problem seems of homelessness and food security seems to be a thing. What are we asking for right now? We are looking for investment to satisfy our pipeline. So we're looking to sell about 20% of our business for about £1 million. Why? Because that will give us a runway of 18 months. So initially we discussed with Matt 500K, of which we already have verbal agreement for about £250,000 from other investors. So those 500K will give us 6 to 8 months runway. We have a bunch of people that love to use our system, so I'm very happy for you to look at our YouTube videos or these kind of things that kind of show from the word of the users how this thing is working. Another thing that I'm very proud of is that people that are empowered with choice buy better things than what they receive from charities. So they're healthier, they are fresher, they're not pre-packed, and so in the future, when this thing will be adopted by a plethora of people, we will reduce overall welfare cost by looking at by improving the way people eat, on top of just giving them food. Who is us? It's me, co-founder, and a bunch of amazing advisors from Tom Morgan, ex-Accenture MD, to Kai Lockwood, a CEO of a charity, of a large trusted trust charity in the UK. We've been mentioned by Forbes, by Thomson Reuters, we won some awards. But yeah, this is us. We would like to make money and help people along the way, or maybe the other way around, help people and make some money along the way. Any questions?
Awesome. Thanks for the presentation, Alberto. I'm sure there's plenty of questions. My first one is, why are you building this?
Because I care about impact, and because I worked 10 years in the strategy sector, delivering mainly two kinds of things. So delivering economic models for social impact monitoring, and delivering growth strategies for large corporates. And over the last 5 years, I've seen that there is a trend and there is an increasing interest, as everyone's seen, for sustainability. The E, so the environmental side of ESG, seems to be the focus of today, but the social aspects of the S of the ESG seems something that is very difficult to manage, that people are struggling to find an effective, simple solution to showcase their impact. And therefore, I thought that this idea that started by giving by working with homeless people, by giving the possibility to have a wallet on people's faces, and then transformed into an enabling technology that works with as a social network and allows to trace each step of a donation, from the time it's made to the time a charity receives it, to any use that charity makes of it. I think could increase by 5 times, through our calculation, the effectiveness of the charity sector, which is £400 billion sector a year. So
it is. It's very big. How do you focus? That was my next question. There's so many different problems you could try to tackle: homelessness, food, medicine, access, jobs, etc. How do you stay focused and not go every direction?
That is I think is a ethical question, or it's more of a concentration kind of thing. So luckily I have Alex in the team, so Alex keeps me focused. That's the reality of the answer of this question. But there are two key themes. So we stay focused in 2 manners. We found that the food security issue is a massive issue in the UK, and there is a bit of traction, and we are following up on this traction. So we are in partnership. We have a partnership with the largest food bank network in the UK, and we're going down that line. On the other end, so we're offering the food security theme to our corporate donors. At the same time, we ask our corporate donors what they care about, because it's very easy for us to bring another charity on board if we can offer few cases, but then somebody else adds to it. So this is what we've seen when working with disability. We are working with 2 disability charities at the minute. We didn't bring them directly on board, but the corporate that we approached said, actually, food security is not in our code, but we're very interested in using this same technology to get more report, to get more data on the charities that we are supporting right now. And when we go to a charity saying, do you want some extra money? They are literally jumping for it. So that's how we are building and structuring our system.
So you're really meant to be the enabler then. One thing I've seen, or one kind of question I would have, is I've seen a lot of blockchain for everything to save the world and do good by tracking and greatness, so we can launch a token kind of thing. Why not on the blockchain? Why did you intentionally go the opposite route?
So this is a good question. There are a lot of products out there. I do think that for charity today, still the cost of writing things on the blockchain is too high. So if we write a line of code in blockchain, but you are experts in this field, so correct me if I'm wrong, it still costs about 20p for a line of code written. So if we're talking about small donations, and if we're talking about traceability, what is is there a value in writing things in the blockchain if we don't really need it to be as transparent as in the blockchain? On the other side, we're using regular technologies, so we're using dollars and the fiat currencies, because we do think that maybe in the future, or in a few months' time, when we get to a bigger stage, it would not be a problem to integrate a blockchain token or a blockchain payment mechanism that we don't need to develop internally, and to add an extra layer of security. But what we wanted to do so far is to make it easy for people to use the technology they know, so click and donate, and to not overcomplicate things, and to do something that we can manage between the two of us, we're not blockchain experts.
Yeah, and it's pretty good progress for two people. Bernard, do you have any questions on your side that you want to toast?
Basically, the frictions you're trying to solve is how to send the funds, the time it takes to get this dispersed, and how recipients are using them, right? Why do you think your solution, for example, is better than providing the donors with providing the recipients of the donations with either like a digital debit card or something where the donors can track and know exactly where the money's going, and that can be scalable into a bunch of different use cases, like universities, sports teams, and universities, and there's companies already trying to tackle that problem, and they've been pretty successful at it. And it's interesting what you're doing, and I really think there's a lot of different verticals that it can expand to, and I'd like to understand better what roadmap you also have in plan ahead.
So there are, let me get it right. There are two questions you're asking here. Why not a physical card? That's the first question.
Physical or digital, yeah.
And the second
physical is the fact that you can, so some people are more are less adaptive to technology and digital cards and all that.
So there are two bits of this answer. So the first answer, why not a digital card? For two reasons. Because if we say we want to create a bank for charity, or the Monzo for charity, people look at us like we are crazy. And whereas if we say we're a donation platform that provides this extra feature, they start to seem listening. In the reality of things, what we do provide is a digital payment mechanism. Can we say it today? Not really. Why? Because FCA and ESR regulation kind of blocks us from saying we are a bank today. So what we sell, the legality of things, is we sell the feedback. So everybody is very, very much willing to sell the feedback. We're not a bank. We are a platform that sells feedback to donors. And this makes us legally, makes it possible for us to operate legally in the UK, in Europe, and in the US. For now. In the future, or as soon as we get a little bit more funding and a little bit more traction, we will apply for FCA. And at that point, our story will be slightly different, and we offer a digital solution that enables transparent banking for charity or for charitable purposes. So I hope I answered your question. It's a question of roadmap. What can we sell in a specific moment in time without having problems with the regulator today? And again, it's a small team. So this is the solution we found today to make it viable. The second question on the roadmap, I hope I did answer partially your question at least. So it's a question of practicalities. The second question is, what is our roadmap? So far, we have about 20 open projects to date. We are looking, or I'm looking, to raise this money in order to hire the 3 people that have been helping us a little bit, mainly a UX designer and an operation person and a full stack developer. Why? Because our technology has been built in a bedroom. And now there are a lot of people using it. So we have about 400 families using it for the food security problem. There are about 15 charities using it for other different causes, but mainly to raise money and to show their donors what they did with the money. And we have 3 large corporates that are looking to expand our use. The large corporates being Bosch in Germany. Bosch is a foundation on its own. So the Robert Bosch Foundation is one of the biggest foundations in the world, which has a turnover of about 78 billion euros per year. Their employees, they count about 400,000 employees globally. Their employees created a foundation that is called Primavera, and we are gonna launch our first project with Primavera from next month. Their interest is to be able to support the charity they have globally and to engage better their employees' donors in something more entertaining, more digital, more appealing in that sense. So that's step 1, short term. Step 2, short term, is ACT. I mentioned this housing association, very large housing association. We need a little bit of more capacity in order to be able to serve their needs. We are going to start with a large pilot next month, probably in the southeast of England. And that requires a dedicated person in order to be fully established. As soon as we have that, we will have the way in both on about 500 charities in the UK that are supported indirectly by ACT, and by about 100 large housing associations that together have a pool of 10 million pounds they use every year to support the residents. So that's one side of the picture. Second side is Bosch. On the third side, we keep on running our current operation. So there's 20 active projects. What do we want to do? Where do we want to get in 6 months? In 6 months, I want to complete this funding round because it's very stressful to me. It's not something I'm enjoying at all. I like operation and I like to deliver the strategy that I'm thinking of. And I would like to be able to raise or to get about 550,000 pounds in donation, which we would have charged about 10 to 15%, depending on the case, depending how many people pay along the same in 6 months' time. At that point, we would have proven that our product is completely scalable. I can go back to Europe and open and start working from there at least a little bit, and we can tackle that growth there. In 3 years' time, I would say that we want to become a tool of choice for corporates giving program, because we're very easy to use, and we want to become this foundation as a service aspiration that allows to track each individual, charities, or other foundation to track the impact of the giving.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a great model. I know I personally only donate to Kiva because it's one of the few places you can see where there is tracking, there is accountability, and you do know that the money is going to where you want it to be. I can see this solving a major hurdle in the donations chain. We have one more question, before we move on, and that's from Christoph. And Christoph wants to know, how do you guys handle fraud, fake receipts, etc.? And then while you're listening, listeners, we've got a community poll for you guys. Who's your favorite startup of the night so far? We've had 4 great companies present. Vote for your favorites, and of course, share it around. Now, Alberto, how do you guys handle fraud?
So there are different level of fraud, and let's take a step back. So let's consider a regular charity. So a regular charity keeps your data in a computer behind a desk, probably in a shed. Charity is not a big charity. You don't think about UNICEF. So you think about the charity that UNICEF works on in East London or in South America. So security there is very low. The technology that we use enables the same level of security that any other AWS services use. So same as CIA, same models, same softwares. So once the information is in the system is actually very secure. If you think about fraud in the use of money or in the use of data or in the use of people using the money, there are two aspects to that. First of all, the biometric recognition that we use we don't vet recipients individually. We let charities assign, verify that people are entitled to a donation when the donation will go to that charity. So say you donate to Food Bank XYZ, Food Bank XYZ will make sure that the Bob which is a person that they usually help, is entitled to your donation. And at that point, we'll make the transaction, will take care of the funds, or make sure that the funds will reach Bob. There are another aspect of the fraud thing, which is, will Bob spend the money correctly? And the second aspect of this answer is, we don't give money to Bob. We just pay the provider that Bob will use. So Bob will use his Face Donate application on his phone to generate a QR code, to take a picture of himself, generate a QR code, and that will enable him to pay. So he cannot exchange the QR code with anyone else, because he needs to self-verify before he can pay for what he needs. And the supermarket will have to upload, or will have to have integrated the receipt scanner. So you as a donor, or me as a donor, will receive that bit of information. So yes, there is the possibility that there is collusion between the supermarket provider and Bob, but that likelihood is very much limited, because if we were to see the supermarket being incredibly successful, so delivering to all the Bobs in the area something that we cannot understand, we simply stop payments. This enables us also to prevent that Bob buys certain items. Say a charity doesn't want Bob to drink alcohol, or to use the money that was allocated to him to buy lottery tickets or scratch cards. Well, we simply input that as in our contract, and then because we pay the provider or the retailer or the charity after they provided feedback, we are able to see what has been provided and pay just what is deemed appropriate.